This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Don't be misled by the color of my shirt. This is deep red territory. And with me today, my guest, Mr. Buddhadeb Bhattacharya, the only Marxist ruler, if I could call him that, in the whole world, isn't it? And an elected one at that, barring the small government in Tripura, in a state.
Not, yes, I am only a chief minister of a state, in the strict sense of the term.
But the only Marxist government in the world, apart from Tripura, isn't it?
I should say it's a Marxist-led government. It's a left coalition government with a minimum common program. But this is not a Marxist program, in the strict sense of the term.
I remember you said once to me in another informal conversation that you were conscious of the fact that you did not get elected to implement the Marxist agenda.
Yes, we cannot. We are realist. We know we are working under a capitalist framework, but with different ideology, different program. And accordingly, we have to formulate our programs and try to implement it.
So what is the capitalist framework? Is it the constitution, or is it the way India's economy is structured, or is it the way the Indian mind looks at life, business, enterprise, economy?
Capitalism with capitalism, you know, and our agrarian sector, we call it half semi-feudal, semi-capitalist structure. And overall Indian economy is a capitalist economy. But we believe that we have to find an alternative path, at least in the state. Now, I'm not talking about at the national plane. We have our programs at the national plane, but so far our state is concerned, with our experience, the 9 political parties, we formulated certain programs, how we can improve the livelihood.
But you're still not creating a socialist state.
Certainly not. We are not building socialism. We are only trying to implement alternative programs for the benefit of the toiling masses, for the farmers, poor farmers. There are 94% of our farmers are poor and marginal.
But that's a tough call in a situation where the constitution, you know, we have a tradition of enterprise, free economy. Agriculture is entirely in the domain of free economy. It's a tough call. I believe that's why people tell me that when you get really tired or when you get really distracted, you come to this place. This is the Nandan cinema complex, your favorite haunt.
Yes, that is good. That is correct. But
and I believe you sit here in the Satyajit Ray Archives room.
Yes, sometime if I find some time, I sit here, I come here.
And watching Satyajit Ray films.
Roy's films, not only Roy's films. Roy's films is not was favorite films, but I see other films also. My favorite directors like Kurosawa, my Antonioni, Bergman. These are all my favorite.
Well, I believe. This I believe is an instrument that Satyajit Ray used in one of his films.
And he also used it in one of his film, Ghare Baire. Yes.
I believe you also became famous. I would not say infamous for one of the plays that you wrote or produced. I think this summer it was called Bad Times.
Bad Times.
It was a particularly pessimistic one.
It was written after the demolition of Babri Masjid.
Right.
The location was some places in Hindi belt. In the areas, maybe it is UP or Bihar, what is going after the demolition of Babri Masjid. That is purely a reaction after demolition of Babri Masjid.
But
it was appreciated by all sections.
But there were comments not just on Babri Masjid or what was happening with Hindu communalism, but also about the state of our governance, and a lot of people saw many comments about the way the state was being run.
That is a misinformation. The journalists who wrote those things, they
did not understand.
They did not even see that drama. That is a separate. Totally, it was based on the communal problem and the unfortunate developments that took place.
Well, that's one difference I find, and many of us find, in the way you've related to the communal situation and to the BJP and the NDA government and the left in general. Somehow, you've been much less angry or abusive or negative, at least in your utterances towards the NDA or the BJP. Is that deliberate or is that a matter of style?
No. What I feel, I do not want to invite confrontation. Right. We have divergent views on many political issues, ideological issues, and that is there. But still, we are running a government. Somebody asked me, what is your relation with Mr. Advani?
Right.
I told them, what should be the relation between a Deputy Prime Minister and the Chief Minister of the country?
Well, I was about to ask you the
Not
same
more,
question.
not less than that.
But did you get the feeling that sometimes chief ministers of parties other than the ruling party at the center have failed that test? They have not maintained the right kind of relationship with either the center or with key people at the center.
I am not bothered about what other chief ministers doing. I have to run this government,
Right.
and I have to maintain a working relation with the government.
Right.
Whenever we get support, cooperation is good.
But
When we face difficulty, then we oppose their policies.
But do you hear this complaint sometimes? People say you are too close to Mr. Advani, you meet him too often. I mean, your predecessor used to use very heavy adjectives about the BJP and the rest. You know,
No,
barbarians.
I told you, my way of dealing with this problem, I don't want to invite confrontation unnecessarily.
Right.
But whenever they support our policy program, they help us, we welcome it. But when they create difficulty for us, just for example, they are now closing down important public undertakings in
Right.
our state.
Right.
Companies, basically engineering companies, big public undertakings. Then I am opposing it. I am writing letters to prime ministers, others. This is a big problem with them. We are facing serious floods in 2 districts
Right.
due to a management of Farakka barrage. We need a master plan. They are not listening to us. I've taken up this issue.
But that's the most un-left-like approach to tackling a problem. The left approach is confrontation, red flags, slogans.
That is, you
Kicking
see,
somebody
at
in the shins.
political level, we are doing that.
Right.
Our party, our left front, we mobilize, we organize rallies, agitation. But from the government side, we have to keep our patience, and we have to take up this issue at that level in the proper manner.
But Mr. Bhattacharya, when you say this in your party, that I don't want to invite confrontation, that there is a government in the center, people in their wisdom have elected them. Let's deal with them as a central government. We can differ with them ideological grounds.
Yes.
in the arena of politics. And if I need to deal with Mr. Advani, have a functioning relationship with him, I will do so, as
Yes.
the Chief Minister must with the Home Minister of the country.
Yes.
Do you get criticism or complaints from your party, or do people in your party appreciate it?
No, nobody has criticized me up till now, because they know what is in my mind. They understand my difficulty, and they understand I have no special relation with Mr. Advani. And the relation what should be between a Chief Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister.
But there are those, I notice even in Calcutta, who say that Mr. Advani has a better relationship with you than with those, than with many chief ministers from parties aligned to the NDA.
I don't know.
Or they give him more trouble than you give him.
That I don't know. That I don't know.
And when you say that you realize that you are not building a socialist state, that you are running a leftist government in a capitalist framework, what response do you get from a party man or even cadres?
We are telling them what is the reality, and we regularly hold our party conferences at different levels, and we explain this political objective situation what is prevailing in the country, and what is our program, what is our program of land reform, what is our program of panchayat, how we can increase our food production, food grains. Now we are topping the country insofar rice production is concerned,
Yes,
fish,
West Bengal has done
vegetables.
very well in agriculture, but not quite so in industrial enterprise. So that's the question. West Bengal has carried out the difficult reform very well, whether it's land reforms or it's the panchayati system. So political reform has been carried out very well, but on economic reform somehow West Bengal has got left behind.
Yes, you see, we are trying to change, and the things are changing for the better. After the announcement of our industrial policy, we gave emphasis on the participation of private companies in our whole effort for industrialization of the state.
Recently, you've also called private partners for some of your failed companies or your
Yes,
bankrupted companies.
2-3 areas I just want to mention. That is one aspect of our new industrial policy. Then we recently took a new mineral policy. We are opening
I
up
see.
for private
private participation.
To take participation in our mineral resources. And then we have recently taken a policy decision that is called private-public joint partnership in constructing houses, but housing.
Can the private sector trust you?
Yes, if you go through the figures, I just can't tell you, last 3 years, in 22, the investment came about 2,000 crores. Last year it was 2,300, and this year it will cross 2,500. I tell you,
Well,
in
there are
iron and steel, and
private investment.
private investment.
But there are those in the private sector or foreign investors who worry that all right, Mr. Bhattacharya has a more practical outlook, but tomorrow you might have a more doctrinaire leadership here, and which may reverse everything.
You see, just today I met the chairman of Mitsubishi,
Right.
and he gave me this information that from this year they have started earning profit, and within 2 years it is very good news for them also.
Out of Bengal.
Yes, their unit in Haldia, Mitsubishi Chemicals. Then IBM is taking interest in our IT sector. You see, these foreign companies, they are coming.
The other concern the businessmen have had doing business in Bengal is your trade union activity. There's so many strikes, so many bandhs, militant trade unionism, and somehow there's a feeling that the government here is never able to discipline them.
No, you see, our advantage is that the ruling parties, we have trade unions, we are the strongest union among the workers. We can convince the worker.
Well, the CPM itself is the strongest union among, I think, all political parties and
that is also true in sense of trade unions in
Right.
our state.
Right.
Now we are in a position to convince the worker, look, you have to change your mindset now. The very competitive world. The question of production, productivity, quality of protection. That is not only the headache of the employers.
But do the workers understand this?
Yes, it will take some time, but the message is going.
Do you see a change in their minds?
Yes, certainly. You see, there are 16,000 professionals are working in IT sector. There was not a single day man's days was lost. In the knowledge-based industries, in IT sector, biotechnology sector, and even in the foreign countries, you can talk to others, big companies like ITC, like Hindustan Lever, like foreigners, Japanese. Japanese direct investment in India is highest investment.
I see.
And now they are participating.
When you talk to your unions, and you tell them now you need productivity, you need quality, only the managements can't do it. The workers must also contribute.
Participate.
Do you also tell them that if the workers don't contribute, if they are not up to it, the managements may even fire you?
No, I don't
The
use
managements
these
have the
words.
right to. The management may have the right to.
We don't use these words.
Send you home. Send you home.
No, we tell them that the productivity, you must improve the productivity.
So what words do you use? What euphemism do you use for
You
hire
have
and
to
fire?
face the reality, and if you don't perform, then your industry is gone and your job is
And
over.
if you face the reality, if somebody confronts you with reality, you cannot respond by taking out the red flag.
Yes, I tell them it is only agitation will not help.
Right.
You have to understand the problem of the industry. Just for example, now we are in the midst of a crisis in tea industry.
Right.
I telling the workers, you have to improve the productivity.
Right.
Otherwise, this tea is our very important industry so far West Bengal is concerned. Tea, jute and engineering. If we cannot improve our production, we cannot compete with even Sri Lanka, Kenya.
Right.
That is the problem. Then you have to understand.
With WTO, it might be cheaper one day to import tea from Sri Lanka or
Yes,
Kenya into
yes,
India. But Sri Lanka wants to sell their tea in India.
That is the real threat now. Therefore, it is not only a threat for the tea planters. Workers have to understand the problem.
So will you tell businessmen, come and invest in my state, run industries, I will give you very good industrial climate, very good climate of industrial relations.
I am telling this all these years, and they are coming, and there are some doubts who are in our country, in some parts of our country,
Right.
in other countries.
I believe this is your favorite haunt, so we'll sit here and...
It's not good. Birds are there, it will create
Right.
problem for you. We can work this way.
So so businessmen trust you when you say this to them?
Most of them, but there are some
doubts.
some apprehensions in certain corners. I'm trying to erase them.
Are there people within your party or in your unions who are saying that perhaps you're going too far?
No, there is no doubt. There is also always a debate on this issue. How far we will change our policy? What is our way of reform? There is always debate going on. It is going on everywhere. in the Chinese party, Vietnamese party, I attended South African Communist Party. They are
And
facing...
that's an interesting question. You know, the whole world is changing. The whole world is
Yes.
now globalizing,
Yes.
no matter what you do.
Yes.
What future does the left find for itself? How does the left mold itself now to be relevant in these times?
We believe in some basic tenets of Marxism. We cannot give up. But we have to apply our theory according our understanding of the objective situation. Chinese leaders, they say interesting things. Learn truth from the facts.
Learn truth from the facts. I see.
Yes, this is very important for us.
So that's another truism, like it doesn't matter what color the cat is, as long as it catches mice.
That's chirping went up to that. What I feel that we have to understand the reality, the changes all
Right.
over the world. So for example, globalization. Globalization is a must, but it should not be the one-way traffic,
Right.
like what is going to happen in Cancun.
Right.
We correctly opposed and we stopped there.
But again, the remarkable thing is that you actually wrote, I believe, to Arun Jaitley to congratulate him
Yes.
for the way he handled
Yes,
Cancun.
yes.
When was the last time a Marxist chief minister or leader wrote a congratulatory note to a central government?
No, because for the first time, Government of India, so far WTO is concerned, they was always submitting to the demands of the USA
Right.
and the European Union. First time, they formed a group of 21 countries and they opposed this.
Right.
And Arun Jaitley, we had a talk during our stay in Srinagar.
Right.
He was telling me, I'm trying to combine with China and Brazil, and we'll just try to protect in the interest of the developing countries. And he has done it.
In China, you see no democracy. The Communist Party is ruling, but communism as such has been dismantled. In India, there is a lot of democracy, not very perfect, but a lot of democracy. There is a Communist Party or Communist coalition ruling in one state, but duly elected. But a system that is still more socialist than China. So sometimes it sounds very, very paradoxical.
Why?
How do you explain it?
You see, the situation in China and India is different.
Right,
Ours is a democracy.
right. And always was,
Uh,
since we became independent.
Yes.
Since we got a
and,
constitution.
and this system works if you compare with other third world countries in Africa, Latin America. But what you call the dictatorship or one party rule, under this one party rule, China has done tremendous success in every sphere of life. Even the countries like USA, Germany, Japan, they cannot catch up with China. The growth of rate, if you just see, the growth of
That's
rate.
because the base was low.
That is correct, but if you compare with India and China, we got our independence in 47.
Right.
They liberated the country in 49. You just
So
compare two
are
countries.
we saying democracy is a bad thing?
No, that I am not going to conclude from that.
Right.
But that system did work, and they are more successful than India.
But sir, if you look at a state like West Bengal,
Yes.
so West Bengal has stagnated for many years. It has also been ruled by the left for many years.
Mm.
Sometimes it looks, but at the same time it has much more democracy than China can ever imagine having. So it does look like a China with democracy. So China with democracy, but West Bengal without the Chinese growth. How do you match the two?
I just cannot. You can compare with China and West Bengal because that is a big country and we are a small state. One of the states.
Has West Bengal suffered because many of your predecessors did not change in time?
Yes, in earlier period we did commit some mistakes. No
Like
doubt.
what?
Like discouraging private sector.
Right.
We had some wrong idea that government will construct, government will run industries, government will construct infrastructure, government will do everything sort of thing. Now we are changing, and within this setup we have to take this private literacy seriously.
Right.
And I am going to give them this message: we are a investment friendly government, and you
Right.
please join us.
So there's no contradiction between sort of modern socialism and private enterprise.
No, in the sense that we have no hidden agenda. Our
Right.
industrial policy is an open document.
Right.
They understand our mind.
Right.
Most of the Chamber of Commerce, their leaders, they understand what we are going to do in our country.
So what other
In our state.
mistakes has the left made in West Bengal and in India more specifically?
That is is a big
Since
national
we are
plan.
in introspection time right now.
No, so for national, the party in the national plan, there is so many issues I just cannot explain. But in our state, I can tell you that some problem was created in the 70s when he first formed this left-front government.
Right.
And there was some confusion among the middle class, intelligentsia
In the 70s.
in the 70s, early 70s.
What kind of confusion, sir?
Confusion in actually what we are going to do with our new policy in education, in health, in industrial policy. Just I'm giving one example. So for IT sectors, we're a late starter. We did not give much importance in these early years.
Did you?
I just started.
Did the left make the mistake of not understanding the significance of investment and enterprise?
That I told you. We announced our industrial policy only in 1994.
Right.
Another problem was there during license Raj before 91. One has to ask for license from the central government.
Right.
And that was over. That policy was changed in 1991.
Right.
And after that, we took full advantage of that decision.
Right.
We announced our industrial policy in 1994. And from then, the things are changing.
But aren't you worried about the fact that so many talented Bengalis leave the state looking for, universities, IAS academies, engineering colleges, IITs are filled with Bengalis. Newspaper offices are filled with Bengalis around the world, and there's not enough talent here.
Now I'm telling you.
Why is this brain drain from Bengal? How long will it go on for?
You see, I can tell you 2-3 areas. Just 3 years back, we had only 9 engineering colleges.
Now you have 48.
Now we
I
have
think.
48 colleges.
Right.
One boy or girl who passes from for joint entrance examination, he has not. Now he has
can now
not
stay
to
on
go
in
to
Bengal.
other states.
So, but that is just one area.
And then about medical colleges, we are now constructing 2 new medical colleges. And now in IT sector, I'm telling you, it is very good information. Once Premji told me,
Azim Premji. Yeah.
that you see, my professionals in this country and in other countries, 50% of them are Bengalis.
Right.
And 70% are only from Jadavpur University.
I see.
That is a good
So-
news at the same
so
time
now
as a very bad news also for me.
Good challenge for you now to get
Now
them back.
to get them back.
Or the
And I have taken,
once you produce now, to retain them in the
I have
state.
taken that challenge.
Thank you very
now
much.
things are
You
moving
will,
fast.
You will need a change of mindset, I think, across the board in the state, but all the very best to you.
Thank you very
It's a
much.
good thing.